Welcome back to another episode of the Squarespace Entrepreneur Podcast. My name is Omari Harabin. I'm the founder of SQSP Themes, and this show is for entrepreneurs who have either built a business on the Squarespace platform or you've built products or services for the users of this platform. So each week or each episode, I typically speak with someone about their story and their journey as a Squarespace entrepreneur. But this week, after 8 or 9 episodes, I'm going to share my story a little bit. And today we're going to talk about how I got started selling Squarespace plugins. Now, it's been 4 years since we launched our first plugin. And by we, I'm talking about me and the developer, Dimitri. And we've also recently crossed $500,000 in revenue from this particular product line, which was kind of mind-blowing to me as well, because this wasn't something that I set out to do. In fact, I started SQSP Themes in 2015 with the intention of selling Squarespace templates. Up until that point, I had been freelancing for about 1.5 years, doing a bit of videography, photography, social media content, and I'll do a website occasionally for a client if they're in a crunch and really needed something. Squarespace was like the best solution for that. Remember, I had a client once who had spent like thousands, almost $20,000 on a WordPress website, and the day before launch, they still weren't able to get certain kind of features or functionality that they wanted without, pouring a whole bunch of more money into it. And so I volunteered. I said, hey, I can probably take what you guys have and recreate it in Squarespace, in time for your launch. And so I whipped it up overnight, and I would do that occasionally. It was always fun. Call it whipping up a Squarespace website, because you didn't have to worry about too much technical stuff. It was really, you start with a template and you customize that thing and make it fit your liking. And my personal style was always really minimal, and it really served that well. But because I was also doing photography and videography, it was perfect for portfolios and for big images and that kind of thing. So I had built up a liking for the platform, and I was in their specialist directory, so I would occasionally get projects related to Squarespace, some of which I couldn't fulfill because I didn't have the technical skills. But I did that for about 1.5 years, and towards the end, I wasn't really getting anywhere. I wasn't really building a business per se. I was more so going from opportunity to opportunity, client to client, mostly just trying to survive, and looking back, trying to recreate the comfort of a job. That's what I was trying to do when I look back. And I wasn't able to do that because I really didn't want the comfort of a job anymore. And so I remember getting really down at a certain point. My wife had gone back to work. I was at home with our 1-year-old son, and I would wake up in the morning semi-depressed, actually very depressed, because I was broke, and I felt like I had basically failed as a man and as a father and a husband and so forth, because I had gone and taken this leap of faith of leaving my career as an engineer to be this creative who was failing, and so I remember talking with a friend, and he was like, what are some of your accomplishments? And I was like, well, I don't have any. Like I've got these degrees, I've held these roles, but they're not things that I'm necessarily proud of, because I was kind of just going with the program all the way up until that point, and I didn't feel like I had anything that I could really put a stake in the ground and say, hey, I did this. So, but that was also a positive, because it meant that I could start from scratch. And because I was doing this freelancing, I was really immersed in this whole digital marketing world because I wanted to know how these people were making this money online, these six figures and all of this stuff. And so I was signing up for all of the email lists, watching all the webinars, any and every kind of thing out there on making money online legitimately, because there's a thin line. I consumed it. And so one of the things that I knew was like, all right, well, I'm going to need to find a niche. And I had trouble doing that before because I didn't want to box myself in. I didn't want to be known as someone who just did one thing. I wanted to be valued for my wide range of creative abilities. So I was very reluctant to niche down. And I remember I spoke with someone who's like a freelance expert, teacher, coach, and mentor, and they're like, I was looking at finding a niche as like some type of long-term commitment, which I think it is, but they're like, you can be polyamorous with your niche, right? You don't have to just have one. You can start with one and kind of build out. So that kind of made me feel like, okay, I kind of get that. I could start with a niche and build that up and then move on to another niche. That made sense to me. So I decided that Squarespace was going to be it because I had positive experiences. Well, they weren't all positive, but I mean, I had a positive experience with just creating these websites, probably because I had been doing it since like the 8th grade. Obviously not Squarespace, but since I was a kid, I'd always been making some type of website on some type of platform. I just never took it as something that I could actually make a living doing. So I never even attempted or tried or put too much into that until I had reached this ground zero. So from ground zero, I'm like, all right, I've got this niche, Squarespace. I need a product. And so the product idea that I had was to sell Squarespace templates, hence the name of the domain, SQSP Themes. And I didn't get too far with that initially because I didn't have the design skills that I imagined in my head were needed for templates. And I also didn't have too much money to hire or to spend on it. But in the process of trying to figure that out and trying to create templates, I had to learn some CSS and JavaScript because I decided I was going to learn the developer side of the Squarespace platform. And in doing so, I picked up enough skills where I could offer just that as a service. So the service became Squarespace Tweaks, and it was just customizing people's websites according to whatever little tweaks they needed. And I made it a productized service where, you can pick the number of tweaks that you wanted. Let's say you had 5 tweaks, you get the 5 tweak bundle, and it was great. It was efficient. I was able to quickly build up a business with this particular service. Now remember, I set out to sell templates, but I also created this site to serve as a sandbox so that I could experiment and test different marketing strategies, different SEO strategies, everything that I had been learning the year before as a freelancer working with different clients. I wanted to be able to take complete ownership and just have something that I could play with and know that, all right, good, bad, whatever, like this is on me, right? There's but so much experiment you could run with a client, right? So I needed the sandbox, and so I had this sandbox, and really quickly I pivoted to selling the service, and the service was somewhat successful because it allowed me to allowed my wife to stop working again, allowed us to move out of where we were living, and I started to feel like, okay, I'm starting to accomplish or reach these these online business goals that I had. But what I didn't know or realize at the time was it was still very, very time intensive. And I hours researching and trying to figure out these little custom tweaks that I was decent enough, but I wasn't like the best. I wasn't really like an expert master. It wasn't really like my thing. It was just a thing that I was good at enough to make some money with. And the thing that I really still wanted to cultivate was these marketing skill sets, particularly with content and SEO and paid traffic. So I would still consult on the side, and I had this client who had a product, a physical product, and they had a Squarespace website. So I took it on, and it's kind of like I was playing all the roles again, just doing a little video, a little product photography, but really I was trying to grow this thing and put these skills to work. And it was a successful project. In the span of about maybe 6 to 8 months, we're able to take that product from a handful of sales to well over like 100,000 in sales. And I felt like, all right, I've got this tweak service that I'm doing. It's starting to wear on me. However, I've been able to prove out this digital marketing skill set, this kind of holistic, all-in-one, take you from 0 to 100 type of thing. Let me do this for myself, right? Let me take this skill set and let me apply it to myself. The problem is I was burnt out at this point with the tweaks because, like I said, I was doing more than I should have been doing, and the way that I was pricing at the time, it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. So I quit that. I was like, let me just hang up this and let me take these skills that I feel like I've polished, and let me apply them to let me try to sell a product of my own. I still didn't have one yet, but I figured I could start with some affiliate offers and just double down on the content marketing with these affiliate offers, and eventually launch my own product. And I had a baby on the way at this time, my second. And so it wasn't necessarily the smartest or wisest of decisions. However, I felt like I needed to do this. So it didn't work out. I probably made $100 as an affiliate that fall over the span of like 3 months. And I try to launch a product, info product on creating info products that bombed completely. And I didn't have anything at that point. I was kind of done. What I had built and created up until then, the website had expired. I couldn't afford to turn it back on. My baby was maybe 4 weeks away from being born. I was kind of on my last leg in the sense of like I didn't have anything to fall back on. Try to go back and get an engineering job. Tried to get some public assistance. That didn't work out. And I ended up selling my story. I ended up pre-selling putting my story on pre-sale and selling that for $10 directly via PayPal to friends and family. And I made enough money that month, and my daughter was born, and I'm gonna skip some of that. And a couple months later, I'm like, all right, I tried doing this drop shipping thing. I'm like, all right, maybe, again, I felt like all I needed was a product, and I could just take it. But the drop shipping thing didn't work out. Ended up being an issue with like scam customers. Like people would scam the website. It was bad. And so I said, all right, let me go back to the last thing that worked, the last thing that I was successful with, and that was the tweaks. So I decided to give the tweaks one more chance, or I don't know if it was one more chance, but it was a chance. But this time around, I knew that I couldn't do it myself. And so I went on Upwork and I hired a developer to help me out with a project that basically I had to clean up some code that I had written the year before. And he helped me clean it up, and then he helped me with a few more projects, and I was like, this is it. He was efficient. He cared a lot about the details, and he didn't give up. He was, very persistent as well. And he was also very frank and just, easy guy to communicate with. So I started noticing some trends with the tweak requests that we were getting. And so I asked him, I said, hey, what do you think about packaging some of these as plugins? And I told him, I said, listen, I'm really a marketer, and I can handle the marketing if we package these things. And he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And so we've been working together like this ever since. And it's been a blessing for me. I think it's been a blessing for him as well. And so now selling digital products has become my bread and butter, but largely indirectly as an affiliate, selling Squarespace templates as well. So we've kind of come full circle where taking this other path has led me back around to achieving my initial goals. But if I was starting all over today from scratch, I'd probably, again, go really deep with a niche service. Deep meaning allow some deep enough to get to know like what the reoccurring problems are, and then figure out how to create some type of do-it-yourself version of that solution. So of course, templates are a do-it-yourself design solution. Plugins are a do-it-yourself development solution. Courses are a do-it-yourself, perhaps consultant or coaching, and so on. So, figuring out what those reoccurring problems are within a particular space that haven't been met yet, where there's still a gap, where there's still a hunger for a solution, and doubling down on those solutions and making them available where they're most needed. So that said, if you'd like to learn more from this particular experience of selling digital products on Squarespace, going from 0 to 100, then definitely check out my latest mini course, which is called Productize and Automate 2, which captures the playbooks that I developed over the years of running this digital product-based business. I'm talking about from coming up with product ideas to getting to your first 10 sales, to building out content and SEO systems, to ensure that some sustainability, to even building out an affiliate program and what's entailed in that. A lot more. You can check it out, omariharibin.com, and if you go to learn or courses or whatever it says there, it'll take you to the course where you can sign up. I also have a few more coming down the road, but I think I'll talk about those on some future episodes. But if you're listening to this in real time, so it's currently July 2021, you can check out Productize and Automate 1, which captures how I was able to create a service, a productized service in the first place, and create a business off of that. That's all I got for today's episode. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Thanks as always for tuning in. It's been real. Peace.